somehow, some way, I feel like something surrounding this idea keeps coming up. I'll reiterate what I said a week and a half ago. I'd rather watch the Warriors stink out loud than have Steph Curry ever get traded. And so, like, this for me, from an opinion standpoint, is a non-starter. But that also comes from a place of, my gosh, we love this guy so much that I do hear some people almost have like a fear, or there's a timing conversation of like, boy, if you don't do this now, it could go bad. And then Steph is not going to want to like finish his career here. I just don't. I don't see that scenario because, A, he's never sounded or felt like that before. That's number one.
Right.
But number two, I just started thinking about it this way. I think Steph Curry's days, same as LeBron. Like, LeBron's a free agent right now. Do you hear the world losing its mind like it has in the past when LeBron was actually going to go somewhere else? Like, the name comes up, but we're not going to do a TV show. The days of
it's
LeBron.
May 8th, though.
I know, but we're not doing that in July
and
either.
he hasn't even opted out.
He's going to.
Correct, but until he opts out and until it actually starts, there will be chatter. I don't think we're doing a TV show.
Yeah.
There's going to be a market. There'll be teams that try to make a play for him. The Warriors tried to trade for him in February.
I'm not arguing that there wouldn't be another team that would want Steph on their team. I'm arguing that this idea that if Steph Curry went, trade me, the league stops. Wow. Like, our fortunes for the future ride on if we can acquire him. No. Like, he's not in that kind of control anymore. Neither is LeBron. Neither is Kevin Durant. These other two players are actually potentially on the market this year. You do not hear the NBA world going, oh, let's get our hands on KD and it's ring time. Or if LeBron opts out, get our hands on LeBron and we're the favorite to win the title anymore. That's not who they are anymore.
But it's May 8th, so I don't think that it's fair to judge the chatter right now. The majority of teams are either early in the offseason mode or still playing. You have 8 teams that are still playing. And when we get to the actual offseason, I do think that there'll be more buzz. And heck, we did multiple shows on Kevin Durant.
Buzz.
And also interest.
But not power. Like, in other words, compare if the Suns tomorrow were like, yeah, we're putting KD on the market. And the very next day, the Bucks were like, we're putting Giannis on the market. What's the bigger freak out?
Giannis is the bigger freak out. Of
course, that's all I'm saying.
Well, all I'm saying is that I don't think you can look at the Steph situation and automatically assume that he'll want to be here as the ship is sinking.
Well, that's not what I'm doing. First of all, I do feel that way, but that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is he was not going to have the power. If it got to that, he's not going to have the power that it seems like many people think he does. And it's because we love the guy so much. We still see him through the lens of Anthony Edwards. We see him like that right now. And he's not.
I don't see him through that lens. I see him as a guy who is probably third team All-NBA, which is to say you're one of the 15 best players in the league. And that's where he will probably land. He'll probably land on that third team. I saw some voters putting him on the second team. Some won't have him on any of the 3 teams. I would bet he's a third team All-NBA selection when that comes out in the next week or so. He's still one of the better players in the NBA.
Sure.
And I don't think that after one more season of Steph Curry, he's going to go from where he is to, oh, geez, no team's going to want you. I think that, and again, I'm not saying you're saying that.
That's that.
It's not about power. If he's entering the final year of his contract and he doesn't want to sign an extension here, but he does want to keep playing, he does have a lot of power.
It's all about power.
And he would have the ability, if he wanted to force his way out of here and go play for another team. And that's power.
Not in the form that we're all talking about. Of course he's allowed to go put a different jersey on, but the guys that make the league stop, therefore the reason for, in fact, I'll give you an example. You know who tried this but waited a little too long? His name's Dame Lillard. He waited too long. If he had done what he did last offseason, if he had done that 3 years ago, it would have been completely different. But what did Dame end up doing? First of all, he's like, I'm going to Miami. No, you're not. You're going to Wisconsin, and you're going to be a 2. And you're going to be out in the first round. He waited until well after his 30th birthday, and the price goes down because the league does not see you as someone who they can acquire, turnkey, win it all. Jimmy Butler this week. Reports come out. Ooh, he might want out. Everyone's like, cool. Kevin Durant. Oh, they could trade him. All right. LeBron's going to opt out. Okay. Like, people are waiting for the people who are still playing. Like, it would have been so different if Minnesota gets now, if they lose the next 4 in a row, and Minnesota's like, we're trading Karl Anthony Towns. That has a way bigger ripple effect through the league because you're talking about somebody who is A, still winning, and B, is in their 20s. So my point is not that Steph wouldn't have desire and teams wouldn't want him on their team. My point is Steph Curry doesn't have the juice anymore that you would think he does based on this conversation.
Well, he's got more juice than you're giving him credit for.
You don't want to put the right people around me? Fine. Put me on another team that's going to put the right people around me. I don't think the rest of the league sees him as someone who you're going to just put at the core of your team
he can go somewhere and be there too. That's the
But he
that's
could
the
do
point.
that here.
But you could go to another team and be the 2 on a team that actually has a chance to win a championship.
Well, that's different. That's a different conversation. And
I think it's the same conversation because it plays off of what the Warriors would possibly be next year. If they're 41-41 and they're the 11th seed and he's got to play 33 minutes a night again and give you 26 a game for a team that really isn't that good and they're actually worse than they've been, and now you miss the playoffs 4 out of 6 years with one chip now in the distant past, that I think at that point it's plausible for him to think that maybe, and it doesn't matter about be a 1 or be a 2.
It does. It
maybe
totally
it doesn't
does.
to him.
It does to me, and it
I
does
don't know if it does to him.
It does to this conversation because, again, if you're talking about him being a 2, that's a lot less power. And Steph could easily go to the Warriors right now and be like, I want to be a 2. I think that's what would help us win the most. Do you feel like that's what's happening? I don't feel like that's what's happening.
No, you can't be a 2 when you're the highest paid player in the league and your owner is in the second apron. Well, so they're not going to be able to bring in a better player than him and make him the 2.
But that's 2 more years at that salary. So
well, maybe it's one more year and then it's him saying, get me somewhere else where I can. Maybe he goes somewhere and he's just the 1 in Charlotte. But it's play out his days in North Carolina.
I thought the whole idea was that we weren't just playing out our days. He wanted to win another ring. That's
I don't
what he
know
said.
What his motivation is.
He said that. He's already said it.
He wants to do that here, but things change.
No, he wants to win.
Right.
He just said, I want to win.
Well,
you're going to win in Charlotte?
You're probably not going to win here. So what are we doing then?
You got a better shot than Charlotte.
And if you get to a spot after another year where your team isn't as good and they don't do anything in the offseason or at the next deadline to build around you, maybe your tune changes.
Let's go to Jack in Berkeley. Hey, Jack, you're on with Willard and Dibs. What's up?
Hey, hi, guys. I called a couple weeks ago about a fun scenario with drafting Bronny James and then signing LeBron. Looks like the Lakers are going to beat us to that. But I have another good one, and this is how I think Steph is going to win his 5th ring. So what I think is going to happen is he's going to play 2 more years with the Warriors. If they don't get the 5th ring, then, and I'm sorry, go through a car. If they don't get the 5th ring, then Popovich is going to gift wrap the San Antonio head coaching job to Steve Kerr, and Steve Kerr is going to bring Steph, and all Steph's fans are going to basically love it that at least he'll get a 5th, a la Jason Kidd when Jason Kidd went to Dallas.
All right, so, Jack, you're saying that in 2 years, Steve Kerr is the coach, and the combination of Victor Wembanyama and Steph Curry, right through the car wash, just like you win a championship.
Boom. It's that easy, Mark.
You win at least one championship.
Yeah.
At least one.
At least one. I don't see it. Sorry, Jack. Enjoy the car wash. I'm not saying that there are scenarios out there where these guys end up with different teams. Steve Kerr, too. And yes, I've heard that one before, the idea, right? Pop retires, Wembanyama's ready to roll, Steve Kerr's up on out of here. But, again, what are we talking about at that point? 2 years from now Steph's not 37. Now he's 38. What kind of juice do you have? We just watched it.
Depends on how he's playing. I don't think you can automatically say that Steph Curry isn't going to still be a great player. He is.
Chris Paul's still a really good player.
Chris Paul has had way, way, way more of an injury issue, and he doesn't have the same fitness level that Steph has.
Okay.
And I do think that's a big part of it.
Even if I grant you that, let's not forget that Steph Curry had unbelievable injury problems early in his career.
Ankles, yeah.
And in the middle of his career.
Some knees.
Missed a year.
But he's.
Hashtag James Wiseman.
His body is stronger and fitter than it's ever been.
Granted, I don't even know how that guarantees this, that, or the other.
Doesn't guarantee anything.
Or like, my point is this. Like, think of Chris Paul when he arrived here. This is a conversation lovely Christy and I still have to this day. She still hates the question that Malika Andrews asked. Like, good God, this future Hall of Famer walks into town and the first thing you look at him and say is, how you like the bench? And I'm like, she's right to ask that question. That was the question we all wanted asked. It's not her job to be the welcome mat for Chris Paul.
You coaching?
It's her job to ask the relevant question. And she did. And Chris flippin' Paul came in here and did what? Came off the bench.
Started 18 games.
Yes, for injury reasons. Right. He came off the bench
40 times.
That's what you do when you're a 38-year-old star. And that, by the way, he came off the bench after getting bought out by one team and shipped out for Mr. Inefficiency by another team. He's not in control anymore.
Just turned 39 on Monday,
right.
By the way.
Happy birthday, Chris.
Yep. I think we shouted it out on Monday.
Hold on a second. Let's go live to Grandy for this San Francisco Giants update.
Yeah,
hello, Grandy.
Oh, yeah, what's up? Jorge Soler, he's been put on the IL, which means there's a roster spot open. The Giants have recalled Elliot Ramos from AAA, and we have a lineup for tonight in Colorado. Ramos is DHing and batting seventh.
All right.
Okay.
Let's do this.
Are they facing a lefty? Who's starting for the Rockies?
Let me confirm that for you.
Who's starting for the Rockies? I'll try to look it up, too. I didn't mean to put you on the spot like that.
No, that's great news, though. I'm not for Soler, but great
Peter
news.
Lambert, he is a righty.
Oh.
It is Jung-Hoo Lee, Tyro Estrada, Lamont Wade, then Conforto, Chapman, Yastrzemski, Ramos, Sable, and Ahmed. Jordan Hicks pitching.
Okay. I like it because what we've all talked about is if you're going to bring up a youngster, and Ramos is not as young as we think anymore, but you bring up a minor leaguer, you let the kid play. Ramos has got to be 25.
24.
Okay.
He's still only 24.
Birthday coming up, though, I think.
I don't know what it is about the Giants prospects feel like they've been frozen in time for 5 years.
Well, Luciano started when he was 18.
Right.
So,
but 8 years later, he's 21. Like, I don't know how it works. Doesn't it feel like and I actually know this. Right? I came home 5 years ago. We've been talking about Luciano the whole time.
Exactly.
And is he even?
He's probably 23.
He's 22.
Yep. Fair enough.
He's 22.
Okay.
How the hell have we been talking about him for 5 years and he's only 22? Were we really getting all crazy off of a 17-year-old minor leaguer 5 years ago?
Yeah, he was 18, and then he had the COVID year that nobody played, and that set all of them back. But good for Ramos.
Yep.
Gonna get some ABs. I would imagine he's going to play every day, which is what you want when you bring a youngster up from the minors. Let him play.
This is an easy way for them to dip their toe in the water without having to have a tough conversation with Slate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right? I mean,
although this is a little bit of a backhanded shot across the bow because Slates could have stepped in and been the everyday DH.
Right, but Slates is literally here to hit lefties. And
right.
There's not a lefty tonight.
Yet this young pup can come up and hit righties.
Well,
and
maybe
you can't.
Maybe his splits are better. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea. But he's hitting the ball, and boy, getting called up for a series in Denver. What a perfect time to get a call up. And yeah, if he puts a few out there in the outfield, then that's the real tell. Is the next time they face a lefty, and I'll look ahead here in a second. The next time they face a lefty, does Ramos get right field over Slater? That's what people are looking for.
I would bet that Slater gets right field and Ramos DH is still. Because isn't Slater a pretty good outfielder?
Well, now Flores would, in theory, would be.
You play him at first.
You can play him at first, right? Yeah.
This year in AAA, Ramos is hitting .247 versus righties, .412 off of lefties.
Okay.
That's a
Those
split.
are some Slater splits right
5
there.
homers off of righties and 91 plate appearances, 3 homers off lefties and 43 plate appearances.
All right. The
Good job,
Giants
Randy.
face Quantrill tomorrow. That is
Richie.
no, that is a does he throw right-handed? Cal Quantrill's right-handed, yes. Okay, so they face Quantrill tomorrow. Then they face someone named Abbott. There you go.
Jim Abbott? He was a lefty.
They face a lefty on Friday night back here at Oracle Park.
Okay.
So
There you have it.
who DHs on Friday night?
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
That's a great question.
Let's go to GPD in Hayward. What up, Grandpa?
Hey, how you guys doing, man?
Oh, you're kind of muted today. What are you, in the library or something?
You know what? I'm in the office doing paperwork.
I didn't know you had one.
County. Yeah, man. Right over here, right across the street from the Oakland Coliseum, right there by Lexus, down the street from Lexus, Coliseum Lexus. Yeah, our office space is across the street over there from the Oracle, man.
Yeah.
Those guys, the Warriors, man. But I wanted to say, I think one thing that no one has really considered is domestication. Steph Curry. Man, he's been living in the Bay Area for how many years now? 10, 12?
More, yeah.
Been living in
exactly.
Appleton with his family, his kids, his wife. Do they love it here? I mean, like the Bay Area's got some of the best weather in the world. I mean, do you think that he might just say, you know what? Man, I got all these rings. I got all this money. I love living where I live. My kids love it. My wife love it. You know what? I'm just going to ride it out, retire here, become part of the organization. They might even want him to be a GM one day. I mean, like, we don't even think about that. Like, I know he's a great athlete and he's a competitor, but he's getting older and he can just say, you know what, bro? I've done my duty, baby. And guess what? I love the Bay. I love where I'm at. Hey, I'm just going to ride it out with my folks.
Well, you never know, GPD, thanks for calling. You never know what makes a guy tick, okay? And we've seen that repeatedly in sports. I could have my guess. If I were Steph, and I'm not, and I would never criticize if someone wants to go somewhere else, if you're a free agent, whatever floats your boat, man. I feel the same way about Clay right now. You like Florida and you like Paolo, dude, if that floats your boat, then float your boat.
Literally floats his boat.
Float your boat, dude. Yeah. But if I were Steph, yeah, sure, there's all the, right, we're going to have 4 kids. Do you really want to, like, either uproot that or just not see dad nearly as much and
well, that's not happening.
Based
on the way he is portrayed as a dad, the way I think he is as a dad, I don't think that he's gonna. I'll play there and you stay here, kind of dad.
Well, if it's for
I
1
can't
year,
see that.
if it's I'm playing from October to, like, it's the school year.
I get it.
I'm gonna do the school year, and by the way, I make $60 million a year. I can fly home.
Sure.
For I don't know. I doubt it. I'm with you.
Yeah.
But so there's that aspect to it. But don't forget, I've always felt this way. I think that there is a financial cost when you are one of these, like, potential lifetime guys, one jersey guys. If Kobe Bryant had put on a Clipper jersey for the final year of his career, he didn't even have to move homes. There would have been a cost to that.
To the legacy, sure.
Yeah, there's a cost there, emotionally and financially, I believe. So what do you want to chase when you get to the end? Is it a ring or is it a one jersey legacy?
I think Steph is above the financial ramifications of that, but it's more the perception. I think Steph has the ability financially to rise above that stain on his legacy, so to speak, as Kobe would have, based on what Kobe ended up doing with the end of his days here on Earth, and the impact he made on the women's game just by way of his daughter and by being a supporter of the game. I think Steph is going to have the same sort of ability, but it's more the perception of Steph Curry if he becomes a a Phoenix Sun, for example. If Phoenix decides, you know what, we're going to take a 1-year shot at Steph. We're going to send the Warriors Bradley Beal and a couple of first-round picks. And the Warriors are like, you know what? Steph doesn't want to be here anymore. We get it. We love you, Steph. Go play with Booker in Phoenix. We'll take Beal and 2 firsts, and we'll turn the page. Boom.
It's such a funny conversation because, like, it keeps coming up, and it's coming up without even the slightest shred of evidence whatsoever that it could ever even be considered.
Sure.
From either side. And that's part of what I'm getting at. And then even if it did, let's say all of a sudden, yep, Steph's like, boy, this isn't feeling right anymore. Okay, what does the league do about that? 38-year-old point guard, we're going to move mountains because we feel like that's going to offer us what? Like
25 a night and 40, a guy who can probably still go 50, 40, 90.
And get you what?
Maybe over the hump,
the
Mark.
10 seed.
No, maybe it gets you from where you are to being a 4 seed, and maybe your team is good enough to win a chip because you got the chef.